we will get started on the mat today. Any comfortable seated position is great. However you would be most at ease is perfect. It doesn't have to be this Sukhasana cross-legged position. It can be whatever makes you comfortable, even with your back up against a wall or with your legs, one or both, extended out. If you choose to do one-sided, you can always switch after a few moments, whatever makes you feel comfortable. So we'll take a few moments to ground and center in. Wiggle around, grab anything like a pillow or a blanket that you need to get even more comfortable if you wish. And then place your hands either face down on your lap for a little more grounded feel here, a little more settled, a little more calm. Or if you'd like to feel a little bit more open and ready to receive whatever it is that you may need, you can turn your palms face up on your lap. Either close down your eyes or find a soft gaze toward the floor. Turning your focus inward. Letting go of everything that came before this moment. Letting go of everything that is yet to come still. Arriving in the here and the now. Allowing your mind to catch up with your body. So your body is always here now. Your body is in whatever location, whatever time. The body really can't be elsewhere, but sometimes it takes the mind a little bit of time to catch up. So you don't even have to open your eyes here. You can keep your eyes closed or keep gazing down toward the ground. But I want you just to sort of sense your surroundings. Sense the space that surrounds your body, the air, the temperature, the objects in the room with you, the colors and the textures of the floor, the walls, the ceiling. And again, you're not looking at all of these things, just sensing. Noticing any sounds, sensation of your yoga mat or whatever you happen to be sitting on. As you make all these observations about your surroundings, your physical surroundings, notice yourself getting a little bit more present here now. It's hard for the mind to be elsewhere when you're really focused on what's going on in the immediate space right around your body. Sometimes when we open the eyes and we look around at all the different things, it makes us think and it makes us wonder, get distracted about where that object came from or what it reminds you of, or something that's on your to-do list that object brings to mind. So keeping the eyes closed is a nice way just to really feel into the space, into the moment. Feeling yourself, your body existing in this moment and in this particular place and space. And then you can sense as well the space that you take up in the room or wherever you are. You can sense how much space your physical body takes up. So you can sense your height from top to bottom. You can sense your width from left to right. You can sense your depth from front to back. And just noticing how much space you take up in the room around you. And perhaps there's even a difference if you pay really close attention. Perhaps there's a difference between the amount of space you take up physically and the amount of space that you take up energetically. So what I mean is, depending on how you're feeling mentally, emotionally in this moment, Maybe you've got a lot of presence. Maybe you feel really confident. Maybe you had a fantastic day and you feel like you're taking up lots of space in the room. You could jump and dance and sing around because you feel so big energetically. If that's the case, wonderful. Really be in that, feel into that. And if that's not the case, maybe you feel like this has been a really hard and draining day. Your energy is depleted. Maybe you're feeling energetically very small. Maybe you're feeling sad or frustrated or angry. Maybe something made you feel less than today. Check in with that. Remember, in yoga and meditation, our goal is never to judge or to shame or to drop into a place of guilt. What we're doing is just trying to find non-judgmental awareness. So whatever you feel, however you feel, it's okay. It's perfect exactly as it is. You are perfect right here, right now, exactly as you are. You don't have to change anything about yourself or what you feel. Not on the yoga mat. And really not ever, but especially not now on the yoga mat. So noticing how much space you take up, not only physically, but energetically. Are you feeling really big and spacious energetically, or are you feeling kind of small? Or maybe you feel like you should be smaller. You have to be a little bit small and take up less space. If that's the case, just notice. Just notice that you're having that thought. A lot of us go through the day and go from place to place, to the grocery store, to a meeting. And I know right now that's not the case. Many of us stay home all day, but in life, we go from place to place, to a party, to a workplace, to school to pick up the kids, to Target, to all the different places where there's people around us. And a lot of us feel like we have to take up very little space. We want to not get in the way and not bump into people and not impede anyone else's personal space. And we don't want to make anyone else feel like we're taking up too much space. If that resonates with you, sit with that just for a moment. Why do you feel like you can't take up space? What makes you feel like you don't have the right to take up lots of space? Again, remember, try not to judge, try not to find guilt. Just notice. Make some observations about yourself, your feelings, your thoughts, your tendencies and habits, just to find greater awareness. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing you need to change or fix. But if this does resonate with you, this idea of taking up space and feeling like maybe you should take up less space, if that resonates with you, I want you today, for this particular yoga practice, to set an intention of taking up lots of space, just for the fun of it, and see how it feels. This is your yoga practice, your yoga mat. You're not taking up anybody else's space or taking up too much space on your own yoga mat. So I want you to really get into taking up space today. Coming into your own sense of confidence and personal power and the right that you have to take up space. And if this feels like a lot, just start with your yoga mat. Just take up space on your yoga mat and then don't worry about the rest. But eventually I want you to start to come into that power and that right to take up lots and lots of space in the world. Because you were born right here in this moment, in this space, in this time to take up space. You were born to be in the body that you were given, with the voice that you are given, in the particular circumstances that you are given, and all for some reason. So don't shy away. Let's go ahead and reach the arms out in opposite directions and take up as much space as possible and just really feel that sense of taking up space. Reach as big as you can to the left and the right. Lift your heart up toward the sky. Maybe even put a smile on your face, just because scientifically it makes you feel better to put a smile on your face, even if you don't feel like smiling. And then let's take a big breath in and reach the arms all the way up. And then as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart, thumbs to the chest. Inhale, both arms reach wide and all the way up. Take up lots of space. And then exhale your hands to your heart. Let's do that one more time. Big breath in, take up as much space as you can. And exhale your hands to your heart. Okay, this time we'll twist. Inhale, both arms to the sky. And then exhale, twist to your right side. Left hand to right knee, right hand back behind you. Sit tall as you twist. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale, twist to the left. Right hand to left knee, sit tall. Inhale to center, get as big as you can. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to the left. One more round. Inhale, widen up. Exhale, all the way to the right. Take up as much space as you can. Inhale to the top. Exhale to the left. And then inhale to the top. This time as you exhale, we'll fold forward over the legs. Walk your hands out in front of you. Let your head and your heart drop down toward the ground. Relax your face. Feel free to wiggle into it a little bit. And we'll take 3 breaths. Again, taking up lots of space, maybe spreading your arms out wide. And then when you're ready, walk your hands back up toward your legs. We'll switch the cross of the legs so the opposite foot goes in front. Maybe you're on the awkward side. Now, if you happen to be sitting in a symmetrical way, maybe on your knees or with your legs stretched out long, then you don't have to switch any cross of your legs because there is no cross of your legs. Let's inhale, both arms up to center. This time we'll side bend. Exhale, take your right hand down. Reach your left hand overhead, big side stretch. Keep pressing the left hip down into the mat. And then inhale, both arms to center. Again, take up lots of space and then exhale to the other side. Left hand down, right hand up and over. Inhale, nice and big reach up to the top. Exhale, right hand down, left hand overhead. Inhale to the top. Exhale to the left. One more round, reaching out as wide and as big as you can go. Inhale. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the top. Exhale to the left. Inhale all the way up to center and then exhale one more time, fold forward over your legs. Whatever shape you're sitting in, stay there and let the head and the heart drop down toward the ground. Maybe spread your arms out wide again if it feels good to take up more space. And breathe. As you're ready, walk your hands back up toward your legs. We'll uncross the legs and come into a tabletop position. Come to your hands and your knees, all fours. So stacking your joints, hips are right on top of the knees. So that means the knees are not touching. The knees are a little bit wide. Same with the hands. The hands are not way in close to the center. They're closer to the edges of your mat. Fingers spread out wide. Let's inhale and drop the belly. Lift the gaze. Lift the tailbone high. And then exhale to round the spine. Drop the head. Look back between the feet. Inhale, drop your belly. Pull your heart through between the biceps. And then exhale to round your spine. Drop your head. Push the floor away. 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Very nice. Let's do one more. Breathe in. And out. Come back to a neutral spine. Let's go through a couple of wrist stretches. Turn all 10 fingers back toward your knees. Your palms stay down on the mat. So you should be looking down at the fingernails as you look down, and your fingers are pointing back toward your knees. You should feel a stretch on the front side, or I should say the bottom side of your wrist. Right now it's the front side, but that's really the bottom. You can either stay still or shift forward and back a little bit, or side to side, or draw circles on top of your hands. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then when you're ready, flip your hands back to the front. We'll do one more here. Flip the backs of your hands to the mat with the fingers pointing toward the center, toward each other. So now you should be looking down and you should see your palms. Instead of seeing the backs of your hands, you should see the palms. Let's curl the fingers in and try to make fists. You should feel a bigger stretch here. And then open the fingers up wide. Do that again. Curl the fingers in and open the fingers wide. 3 more times. Curl in. Open up, curl in, open up. 1 more time, curl the fingers in and open up. Let's flip back to the palms and we'll sit into a puppy pose. Walk your hands forward, maybe scoot your knees back 1 inch or 2, drop your head and your heart down toward the ground, and we'll take a couple of breaths here. Hips stay way up high. You can either come way up high onto the fingertips and crawl the fingers forward, lifting the elbows, big active puppy pose. Or if you'd like a little gentler version, you can set the elbows down. You can even bend the elbows and bring the thumbs toward the back of your neck for an added tricep stretch. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Whatever variation you've found feels good to you. And then when you're ready, extend your hands back out. Let's press back up to tabletop. And then from here, tuck your right toes under, push back through your right heel to find a calf stretch for the right side. Spreading the fingers really nice and wide, pushing down as hard as you can into all 10 fingers. Keep the back of your neck nice and long so you're neither cranking your gaze to look forward or dropping your head like you're texting. The neck is in line with the rest of the spine. And then when you're ready, you're going to squeeze the right glute and try to lift the right leg straight back behind you, going for length rather than height. Notice if you kick that right leg way up toward the sky, your low back collapses, the belly drops, and you lose all the integrity of the spine. So let's keep the spine neutral, keep the belly lifted, really squeeze the right glute, push back through the heel. Then your left fingers are going to start to crawl forward and reach all the way out in front of you, finding your balance on opposite hand and foot. We're going to hold here for just a couple of breaths. Breathing in and out through the nose, keeping the right glute fired up, keeping the belly lifted, back of the neck long. Using your right hand, pinky and thumb to keep your balance. Those will help. Good. Keep that right leg lifted. Keep the left bicep by the ear. Don't let the hand drop. Let's take 1 more big breath in. And then as you exhale, set the hand and the knee back down. Let's go to the other side. Tuck your left toes under, push back through the heel. Find the calf stretch first. Keep the face relaxed. Weight is in all 10 of the fingers. You're really pushing down into the ground with all 10 fingers. Back of the neck is long, so again, it doesn't look like you're texting. And you're also not cranking the gaze out in front. You're looking straight down. Belly stays lifted. Left glute is going to start to squeeze to lift the left leg. And again, you're kicking it straight back behind you, going for length rather than height. Try not to let the belly drop. Good. When you're ready, start to crawl the right fingertips forward and then reach that right hand all the way out in front of you. Turn the palm towards center, spread the fingers wide. Bicep is right next to the ear. Good. Breathing here. Again, using the left hand, pinky and thumb to navigate your balance, to stay nice and steady. Good. And the wiggling and the wobbling and the shaking is good. It means your body is getting stronger. So if you feel your muscles quivering and shaking, it's a good thing. Remind yourself, I'm getting stronger. This is so good for my body. Breathe in and out through your nose. Keep the left glute fired up. Keep reaching long through the heel and the fingertips. 1 more big breath in. And then we'll exhale both hands and knees down to the mat for child's pose. Sit back onto your heels, drop your head and your heart down to the mat. And we'll take 3 slow breaths here. This would be also a great time for a sip of water or to shed some layers as we build some heat in the body. And when you're ready, we'll come up through tabletop and back to a downward facing dog. Let's tuck the toes, lift the hips and the knees, and find that first downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet if it would feel good to you, bending one knee and then the other. Maybe shake your head yes and no a couple of times. Maybe rock your hips back and forth from side to side. Finding anything that feels good in your body as you warm up that first downward facing dog. You could lift up way onto the tippy toes and then drop the heels back down a couple of times. You could squat back into both legs and then extend. You could also roll forward and back from a high plank. See how that feels. Okay. When you're ready, let's all come forward to a high plank and then set the knees down for a knee plank. So this is different from a tabletop. Notice that in a tabletop, my knees are right underneath my hips, my joints are stacked. In a knee plank pose, my knees have scooted backwards in space, so I've got one straight or almost straight line between the crown of my head and my knees. Squeeze the glutes as hard as you can to really exaggerate that nice straight line, and push the floor away with your hands. All right, now just like we did in tabletop, we're gonna try that opposite hand and knee balance. So first I want you to take the right leg and kick it straight back. Good. If the toes don't lift off the ground there, you can keep the knee bent and lift it like so. Either way, as long as you get that right knee just an inch up off the floor. Then you're going to shift your weight over to your right hand. Start to crawl your left fingertips forward and then reach it all the way out in front of you. Try not to let the hips back up. Try to keep the hips in line between the shoulders and the left knee. Good, so you're not letting the hips come back like a tabletop or a child's pose. Keep the hips forward. Squeeze the glutes and breathe in and out through the nose. Good. Take one more breath in, nice and steady, and then exhale, hands and knees come down. Let's try the other side. So set up knee plank again. Make sure you're not in tabletop, but in knee plank. Squeeze the glutes as hard as you can. Start to kick the left leg either straight back, or if the toes don't leave the ground there, bend the knee and then lift. Good, and then shift your weight over to your left hand. Start to crawl the right fingers forward, and then reach that right hand forward out in front of you. Now try not to let the hips go back. Again, keep the hips forward, not dropping the belly, but staying nice in line. Squeeze the glutes, reach forward, breathe. Take one more big breath in, and then exhale down to child's pose. Hands and knees come down, sit back on your heels, drop your head and take 3 slow breaths. When you feel ready, let's come up through tabletop, back to downward facing dog. All right, so big breaths in and out through the nose. We're gonna try this in 2 more variations. So same hand and opposite hand and leg balance. We're gonna try it from a high plank this time. Now this is gonna ask a lot of the body, so I want you to be patient. And if you need to set the knees down, set the knees down. You can absolutely do that and build strength and work on this again and again until you're ready for high plank. So if it's not today, don't fret. Squeeze the glutes here to begin. Get nice and steady through the center of the body. Kick your right foot straight back. And maybe you just point the toes. It does not have to lift high. Shift your weight over to your right hand. Come onto the left fingertips. And then you're going to choose to either reach the left hand out in front, or sometimes it's a little easier to reach the left hand back in line with the torso. This one gets a lot more challenging. Try not to go back like downward dog. Keep the hips forward. Straight line between the head and the left heel. Good. 2 more breaths. You can do it. And then exhale everything down. Let's take a child's pose just to break between the 2 sides. This is a lot going on in the body. Catch your breath. Really anchoring into the breath here so you're prepared for the second side. When you're ready, come up to tabletop, back to downward facing dog. We'll start here. Okay, anchor into that breath. Use it as a tool to help you find steadiness and ease in the midst of a really challenging pose. Let's come forward to high plank again. All right, and then you're gonna lift the left toes. They don't have to come high. You can even just point the left toes straight back. Really push into the right toes, left hand. Start to crawl the right fingertips forward and either reach that right hand forward or back in line with the torso. Keep the left toes lifted. Keep the hips low and forward. Squeeze the glutes and breathe. Push the ground away with the left hand as hard as you can. You can do this. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, let's set the hand and the foot down, knees down, come back to child's pose for 3 more breaths. Woo, you're doing great. All right, last round here. We're gonna do the same balance work, opposite hand and leg from downward facing dog. So let's come up through tabletop, tuck the toes, lift the knees, find your downward facing dog. All right, so catch your breath in and out through the nose, really anchor into the breath. And then when you're ready, we're gonna find 3-legged dog with the right leg in the air. Okay, right leg to the sky. Squeeze the right glute as hard as you can. Try to get that right leg lifting way up high. Find your balance and then come onto your left fingertips. Good, take the left elbow out to the side. Start to crawl the left hand back halfway toward the foot. And then maybe you just play with lifting the fingertips, left fingertips, 1 centimeter or 1 inch up off the floor. And then you tap back down. You lift and tap and wobble and find your balance. And maybe you get to the point where you can take the left hand and just float it and hold it there 1 inch up off the ground. So it's nice and low, ready to catch you if you fall. And if you start to feel really stable, you can try reaching the left arm in line with the torso, back toward the left hip. Breathe. Whoop, if you fall, catch yourself. Come back. Awesome. Let's go ahead and come down to child's pose, nice and gently, very softly. Sitting back to the heels. Let's take a couple of breaths and then we'll try the other side. Stay with me. I promise you can do this. All right, as you're ready, here we go. Last round. We won't do any more of this, I promise. Come up through tabletop, back to downward facing dog. Okay, settle in, find some steadiness, some balance here. Find a little bit of stability, a little bit of rigidity. Spread your fingers wide, and then find 3-legged dog. Kick the left leg up. Good, squeeze the left glute, get really strong in that left leg. And then shift your weight a little bit over to your left hand. Come onto the right fingertips. Elbow pops out to the side. And then you're gonna start to crawl the right fingertips halfway back on the mat. Good, and you can maybe just work here to begin. Good. If you feel like it, you could try to hop those right fingertips up off the ground just for a second. And then maybe you work on 2-second hold, and then 3 seconds. And then 4 and 5, and you work on floating those right fingertips longer and longer up away from the ground. And maybe at some point, you feel confident enough to reach the right hand back in line with the torso, reaching the right arm back toward the right hip. Good. You'll notice probably one side is wobblier than the other. Breathe in and out through the nose. When you're ready, let's come down to child's pose. Very nice job. Grab a sip of water if you need it. Find your breath. All right, when you are ready, let's rise up and back to tabletop and then downward facing dog. And I promise we won't do any more of that balance work. We're gonna change it up from here. Let's take the right leg up to the sky, inhale. As you exhale, bring your right foot through between your hands. We'll come to high lunge, nice and slow. Rise all the way up. Your right foot is forward, your left foot is at the back of the mat. Left knee is soft, so try not to straighten out the left leg, but keep the knee bent. Squeeze the left glute. Tighten up across the belly like you're getting ready to get a punch in the stomach. You're gonna kind of brace the front side of the belly. From here, let's open up the arms to a goal post or cactus shape, whatever this looks like to you. Elbows and hands pull backward in space. Heart lifts toward the sky. Try not to come into a back bend again. Keep the belly tight across the front. Lock in the legs, so squeeze the glutes. And then you're gonna start this kind of washing machine movement from side to side, left to right. Freeing up around the rib cage, liberating all the tissues that feel really stuck from spending the day in front of the keyboard. Twisting side to side, and let it be fast, let it be rapid. Don't be afraid to go fast. I know yoga is usually a slow, serious, controlled practice. Let's go fast here. 3, 2, 1. Now twist to the right and hold it there. So twist over your right leg. Bring your hands to your heart, and then bring your left elbow to your right knee. So you're in a twist. Left elbow to right knee. Okay, now you're either gonna stay right here if this is plenty for you, and if it is, stay. If you want a little bit more challenge, look down in front of your foot, keep the elbow on the knee, take a big push off the back toes, and try to lift the back leg. Find your balance once again. Keep the elbow on the knee. Really squeeze the left glute to get that left leg lifting high. Good, one more breath. We're gonna come to warrior 2 from here. You'll set the back foot down. Open up the arms to the front and the back. Right arm to the front, left arm to the back. From here, let's flip the front palm. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle, elbow to knee or fingertips to the ground, you choose. Inhale, back up to warrior 2. And then exhale, both hands to the ground, frame the foot, step back to plank, and then back to downward facing dog. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Exhale, left foot through between the hands. Rise up slowly, high lunge. Good, again, soften the back knee, squeeze the back glute so you're stabilizing through the hips, bracing across the belly, finding now lots of stability and rigidity in the lower body. And then open up your arms to that cactus or goalpost shape again. Go ahead, spread the fingers wide, and then we're gonna start that washing machine, twisting from side to side. If you feel really wobbly doing this, first step or first tip for you, take the left foot to the left side of the mat so you've got a wider stance. A wider foundation is always gonna be more stable. Second tip is keep your gaze straight out in front of you rather than turning the head from side to side. Good. Visualize all the tissues all around the rib cage, all the places of tension and tightness breaking up and loosening up here. And then the next time that you twist to the left, hold it there. So you're twisting to your left side, looking to the left, hands to heart, right elbow to left knee. Keep the elbow on the knee, either stay right here in this twisted lunge, or look down at the floor in front of your foot, push off the back foot, find your balance. Squeeze the right glute as hard as you can to lift that right leg high. Elbow stays on the knee the whole time. If you fall, just come right back. Pick up where you left off. One more breath. And then when you're ready, we'll land the back foot for warrior two. Drop the back heel, open up the arms. Left arm to the front, right arm to the back. Nice job. Flip the front palm. Inhale, reverse warrior. Left arm goes up. Exhale, extended side angle. Elbow to knee. Right hand reaches overhead in a long line with your leg. Inhale, come back up to warrior two. Exhale, both hands to the ground. Frame the foot. Step back to plank. And then back to downward facing dog. Stay here or take child's pose for 5 slow breaths. If you're in child's pose, come up and back to downward facing dog. And all together, let's inhale forward to a high plank. As you exhale, spin your heels to the right. So dropping onto the edges of your feet. We're gonna lift the left hand up to the sky for a side plank. If this is a lot, you can always set the right knee down on the mat for a modified side plank. Otherwise, stay on the edges of both feet. Keep the hips lifted. Try not to let them drop down low. From here, let's lift the left leg to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, left knee to chest. Slowly step the foot all the way to the front of the mat and rise to high lunge. I know that's the hardest transition of the whole practice. Nice job. Inhale here. Exhale to warrior two. Just like before, flip your front palm. Inhale, reverse warrior. Left arm goes up. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, warrior two, same thing. This time as you exhale, bring your hands to the ground inside your foot. Pop the back heel up. This is lizard pose. Stay on both palms. Or if you'd like to go a little deeper, you can drop your right elbow down. If you want to go even deeper, you can take your left elbow to the ground. Try to keep the back knee lifted if you can. We'll stay here for 5 breaths. Two more. When you're ready, push really firmly into both hands on the ground. You're gonna step your left foot back to plank, nice and slow and controlled, and then back to downward facing dog. Okay. From here, come forward to high plank. Good. So plank on your hands. We're gonna drop the heels to the left this time. So you're, again, on the edges of your feet. Right hand is gonna reach to the sky for side plank. Now, again, if it's a little too much here for today, set the left knee down, turn it into modified side plank. If it's okay to stay up in full side plank, stay on the edges of your feet. You could even stack the feet with your right foot on top of your left foot if you want. Breathe. From here, right foot is going to reach toward the sky, and then bend the knee, bring it to the chest. Slowly step it all the way to the front of the mat. Come to high lunge. Inhale. Exhale to warrior two. Open up to the side. Flip your front palm. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, back up to warrior two. Exhale to lizard. Both hands come all the way down to the inside of your right foot. Pop the back heel up. You might wiggle the right foot over toward the right side of the mat to make more space for the hands if needed. Try not to let the hips drop way down low. Keep the hips lifted, back knee lifted. That quadricep muscle is turned on. You can stay on the hands or drop to your left elbow if you want to go a little deeper. Or drop to your right elbow if you want to go even deeper. We'll be staying here in lizard for about 5 breaths. Last one. And then returning to your palms, press down as hard as you can into both hands. Start to lift the right foot, step the leg back to plank, and then back to downward facing dog. All right. Almost there. We're going to take a couple of breaths and then we'll go through our last little flow. This one's going to be a little more stretchy, a little less hard work. So our practice is slowing down from here. See if you can slow down the breath. Find a little bit of ease. Continue taking up lots of space. Don't let yourself shrink physically, mentally, energetically. We've got 2 more breaths here. So if you need a quick sip of water, now's the chance. All right, when you're ready, let's take the right foot up to the sky. Inhale. As you exhale, bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Same pose, lizard pose. You're gonna walk your hands to the center of the mat. Make some space for that right foot on the mat. This time, set your back knee down. Gets a little gentler, a little softer here. Untuck your back toes. And then this time you're gonna roll onto the pinky edge of that front foot. So we go from lizard on the sole of the foot to dragon pose, a little slightly different variation. You'll feel a little shift in the stretch where you feel it. Probably a little more inner thigh here. If lizard on the sole of the foot felt better in your body, you can always stay there. There's no need to go to dragon if lizard feels better. You could also, sometimes it feels really good to go back and forth between lizard and dragon. Sole of the foot, pinky edge. Sole of the foot, pinky edge. Whatever you choose, be slowing down your breath, moving it in and out through your nose, keeping the face relaxed, jaw relaxed, unclench your teeth. If your jaw feels really tight at any point or you're clenching your teeth, if you notice yourself gripping in the jaw, you can give your jaw a wiggle from side to side. All right, let's take 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then we're gonna go to pigeon pose from here. So we're gonna stay on the same side. Just walk your hands a little bit forward on the mat to make some clearance for your right foot to scoot over to the left side of your mat. It's gonna scoot backwards a little bit as well, so you can drive the right knee forward and come down onto the right shin at an angle. Your back leg may need to scoot back or forward. Feel free to adjust. You can either stay up high on your hands or drop down onto one or both elbows, or even stack your palms to rest your forehead. We'll be taking about 10 breaths here. So I want you to really make sure you're comfortable enough. I know that there's a lot of stretch, a lot of sensation here, but make sure you're comfortable enough to stay for 10 breaths. If your body is yelling and screaming already, that's a good sign that your body wants to adjust a little bit. Maybe scoot the back knee forward a little. Sometimes that's all it takes. We have about 3 or 4 more breaths. And when you're ready, I'll have you come back up to your palms if you're not already there. Tuck your back toes, scoot your back knee forward a couple of inches first, and then lift the back knee up, step back to downward facing dog, nice and easy. Maybe pedal the feet a little bit. Notice the difference in sensation between the two sides. And then when you're ready, we'll take the left leg to the sky. Inhale. Exhale the left foot to the outside of the left hand, coming into lizard pose. Hands walk toward the center of the mat. Back knee sets down. And then we'll come either into dragon pose if you'd like to roll onto the pinky edge of the foot for a different stretch. Or if you notice that you're feeling better in lizard with the sole of the foot on the floor, you can stay there. And again, I mentioned last time you could also roll back and forth between the two. Pinky edge to the sole, pinky to sole. Sometimes it feels good to have a little bit of fluidity and a little bit of movement within the stretches. Whatever you choose, continue breathing in and out through your nose. Focusing on especially slow exhales. Let's take 2 to 3 more breaths here. When you're ready for pigeon, our next stretch, walk your hands forward to make some clearance for the left foot to crawl across the mat to the right side. It'll move backward a little bit as well. Your left knee will push forward. The left shin will lay down on the mat, probably at an angle, so not parallel to the front of your mat. That's the traditional full extent of this pose, but it's a lot for the body. It's asking a lot of our modern desk-ridden bodies where we sit at the keyboard all day. Our bodies are not used to sitting like this. If it works for you, feel free to try it, but most of us will like this pose with the shin at an angle. And then you can either stay up on your hands or drop to your elbows or all the way down onto your forehead if you wish. And we'll take about 10 slow breaths here, in and out through the nose. Relaxing your forehead and your eyebrows, your eyes and your eyelids, your ears and your temples, your jaw and your neck. Relax your hands and your feet, your fingers and your toes. And then notice if you feel any softer in your hips, where you feel the stretch, where you feel the sensation. If you pay attention to the rest of your body as a whole and not just the place in your body that is stretching, And if you soften those subtle parts of the body that may not necessarily be involved in the stretch, like your fingers and your toes and your ears, and then you check back in with the hips almost every single time. The hips or whatever part of the body you are stretching will feel more relaxed and feel more easily able to let go and release into the stretch. Let's take another breath or two here. And then when you're ready, gently press back up to your palms. Now, instead of going back to downward facing dog, go ahead and just sit onto your left hip. Bring your right leg all the way around to the front. We'll come into a little seated position. You can stretch out your legs if you want. You can even do a little brief forward fold over both legs if it feels good. If that feels really good, stay for a few breaths. I'm going to go into some neck stretches here for you, but if this forward fold is feeling like just what your body needs, skip the neck stretches or catch up in a moment after you've had enough of this forward fold. If you're ready for neck stretches, you can sit back up and either cross the legs or just keep the legs out or one out, whatever's comfortable. We're going to start by just turning the head from side to side. So turn the head first as far as you can to the left or right, doesn't matter which side you start on. So you're twisting through the cervical spine, and then we'll twist to the other side. Turn as far as you can in the opposite direction. And then back to the first side. And then second side. And first side. Second side. First side. Second side. Last round, first side. And second side. Come back to center. Let's roll the shoulders a few times. Up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. Get the shoulder blades moving around on the back ribs. Feel the tension, or at least visualize it. Imagine it breaking up all around your neck and your shoulders. And let the arms shake a little bit all the way down to the hands. Roll the wrists a couple of times, one direction, and then switch, go the other way. Sometimes it feels good to interlace the fingers and roll the wrists a few times like this. And then let your arms relax. Let's drop the right ear toward the right shoulder. If it feels good, add a little nod yes here. Maybe a little shake no as well. And then go ahead and turn your chin down toward your right shoulder. You can either stay right here or add another nod yes. Maybe a shake no. And if there was a sweet spot somewhere on this side, feel free to go back there. And then bring your head back to center. Roll the shoulders once or twice. And then we'll switch sides. Left ear drops toward the left shoulder. And you don't have to put much effort in here. Just let gravity do all of the work for you. You can stay right here or add another nod yes. Maybe a shake no. Maybe you turn your chin down toward that left shoulder. Perhaps another nod yes. Or a shake no. And if there was a sweet spot somewhere on this side, maybe you go back there. And then go ahead and roll your chin down toward your chest. And you can either just stay here or you can do a little bit of bobbing from side to side. Just kind of let the head hang heavy and bob to the left and the right and the left and the right, back and forth, as fast or as slow as it feels good to you. And then come back to center, roll the shoulders a couple more times. If you want to give the arms one more shake or one more wrist roll, you can. And then last but not least, just a tiny little bit of self-massage. I think this is really beneficial to know how to do this. So you're going to basically just take these 3 middle fingers on each hand, and it could be 4 fingers, but 3 works pretty well. You're going to massage the upper trapezius. So you're going to reach up and over your shoulders. This is still above your shoulder blades and kind of in toward the center of the spine. This is right where you'd want somebody to massage after a long day sitting at the desk at the keyboard, right where you'd want somebody to come up behind you and rub your shoulders if they get really tight. This is what we're doing. And we're just kind of putting pressure, digging into the muscles and then pulling forward, kind of like kneading dough. And if you find a sweet spot, you can even just hold some pressure there. Getting to know your body and knowing how to give yourself some of the nurturing and the care that we often look to others to receive. We look to others to give us this nurturing and this care, but it's so great to know how to do this for yourself and be able to take care of yourself. So you can keep going like this if it feels good. You could also kind of play like piano keys. You could push your fingers in just in an alternating or rolling almost position, or I'm losing my words, but like piano keys, pressing into 1, then the second, then the third. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can also take your fingers right behind your ears, and 1 or 2 or 3 fingers, and you're going to kind of just give a little pressure right behind your ears, and then draw that pressure, glide it down the sides of the neck to either the trapezius muscles again, right where we were, to the upper trapezius, or down the sides of the neck all the way to your collarbones. And you can give a little pressure on your collarbones. And you could alternate between the 2, whatever feels good. Giving a little length to those muscles on the sides of your neck. And then last but not least, you can take the fingers, same fingers, and you can take the hands back behind the base of the skull. So where your head and your neck meet, right at the back of your skull. And you can kind of dig the fingers up into and underneath the skull, like you're trying to take the fingers and dig up under the back of the skull there. You can even kind of lean the head into it. You can keep doing that as long as it feels good, and then give the arms another shake or the shoulders a roll, and then we'll go ahead and lay down for Shavasana. So we'll lay down on our backs all the way on the mat. If you need a happy baby or a spinal twist or anything to wrap up your practice, go for it. Otherwise, go ahead and close down your eyes and let yourself start to relax here. Wiggle around until you are as comfortable as you can be. Eyes closed, eyelids and eyebrows relax. Forehead, temples, and ears relax. Maybe take a swallow, relax your throat, unclench your teeth, soften your jaw, all the way down the sides of the neck into the shoulders, chest, and upper back. Let your arms and your legs get heavy, hands and feet soft. Relax all 10 fingers and all 10 toes. If you find yourself laying in a very straight, rigid line on your mat with your arms right next to your sides and your feet together, one more time, the theme of our practice today, taking up space. Go ahead and spread your arms out. Take your legs out at least as wide as your mat. Really let yourself relax into this space, this spaciousness. Feel the support of the earth underneath your body, holding you here as you are. I invite you to stay relaxed, stay in your final pose, your Shavasana, for as long as you'd like. Maybe another 10 breaths, maybe another 10 minutes. It's totally up to you and what feels good in your body. Whenever the time comes that you're ready to come out of your practice, do so very slowly, gently, softly, without any rush. Thank you so much for sharing your evening and your practice with me. The light and the love in me honors the light and the love in you. Namaste.